What I'm going to do in this video is give you a brief tour of 3 different hosting control panels, just to show you what's similar, what's different, and where you set up various bits and pieces. So what I'm going to do is I have 3 different login pages for 3 different types of control panels here. The first is called Direct Admin, and the name of the hosting company here is MediaLayer. So I'm going to log in there. The second is Bluehost, and this is a standard cPanel and it's quite well set up, and I'm going to log in there. And the third is on a company called DigiWeb, and I'm going to log in, and the control panel here is called hSphere, so I'm going to log in here as well. So going back to Direct Admin, what I'm going to do is I'm going to blur out some of the domain names that I have here just for security reasons, but what I'll show you is I'll show you some of the domains and how they're set up. The second one is Self-Assembly Sites account on Bluehost. Now we're no longer hosted on Bluehost, but we do still have our account on there just for testing and for creating videos, and I'll show you some of the things that we can access in here. And then finally is another account that I have on another hosting company called DigiWeb, and I'm going to blur out some of the domains that I have listed here as well, because some of them are clients' websites, but I'll show you my own websites here, and I'll also show you how to do various bits and pieces. So the first thing you'll see is that when you log in, they all look pretty different. So if we look at Direct Admin, a list of domains, or if you've just got one domain, just that one domain. So to actually do anything in Direct Admin, what you need to do is click on the domain name. So I'm going to pick AMDsoft, which is a kind of a techie blog that I've been running for a few years. And I see that when I click on that, now I see a lot of information or a lot of links to different areas of the site. So here I can do various things like set up FTP users or change MySQL users. You also see down here email management is pretty clearly marked. So we can set up email accounts. So that's for setting up email accounts called like POP3 accounts or IMAP. And then there's also a section for MX Records, which allows us to do stuff like set up Google Apps. And then down the bottom we've got stuff like SSL certificates, which are secure socket layer certificates. What they do is they allow you to identify a website as a authenticated website. So for example, you'll see up here the little icon that Firefox shows me for MediaLayer. If I click on that, it says it's verified by Equifax SSL certificate that gives us that information, and it tells us this is encrypted. So for example, if you're on the PayPal website, you'll get an SSL certificate to tell you that it's verified as PayPal, and what that will do is that will just let you know that you're on the actual PayPal website. And you'll see sometimes people send you emails called phishing emails that try and get you to go to a different site and enter your PayPal username and password, so then they can log into your account. And what you do is, if you're not sure about the site, you can click on the site name icon up here, and that will give you more information. So that's what SSL certificates are. There's a bunch more things that you can set up here. The one that we would be quite interested in is the Installatron. I'll just click briefly into that, and if we scroll down here, then we can see that WordPress is one of the applications supported by Installatron. So you can click on that to do a one-click install within the Direct Admin if it's been set up by your hosting company, which it has been by MediaLayer. So that's the basics of the Direct Admin control panel. What I'll do now is I'll just go and show you in cPanel on Bluehost. You can see that these different areas here can be expanded and contracted. So for example, they've got some ads up the top here that I've just hidden by clicking on the little up and down arrow. You can see under Simple Scripts installations, you can see that WordPress is showing, and that's because I've installed WordPress through Simple Scripts on this hosting control panel. So if I click on Simple Scripts here, it opens a new window, and that shows, for example, the installs that I've created here. So I have development server installs, and it tells me what version of them I'm running, and it also gives an option to install a new script. And down here you'll see all of the apps and scripts that you can install, and WordPress is there. You can choose WordPress, and if you want some more information about that, you can look at our one-click install for cPanel, and you can see there's just a massive amount of scripts that you can install from Bluehost. I'm just going to have a quick look in the MediaLayer Installatron and see what they offer. So they've got community forums, and they've got quite a few here, not to the same level as the Bluehost Simple Scripts, but still quite a lot. So that's quite impressive how many different applications and scripts they make available. So that's a look at the Simple Scripts on Bluehost. and I'll just show you some of the other equivalents. The email section is here, and this is for the email pop accounts, and you can see that there's MX entries here, which is for setting up things like Google Apps, or if you've got email on a third-party server, like for example you might be running Microsoft Exchange server on your Office, and that would be where you set that up. Down further you can see there's a file manager, and then there's FTP accounts, so that's quite similar. A section for logs, so that will give you some information about how many people are visiting your site. I suggest that you use Google Analytics or another stat counter type program, but these can be quite useful as well. And then an area for managing subdomains and databases. And then just like in Direct Admin, there is a more advanced section down here for 404, which is the same as on Direct Admin. And let's finally go and look at HSphere. So HSphere is a little bit more bare bones to look at, and you can see that it has the basic same areas. It's got managing email, and if I click on manage email here, this is what we see. We've got an area down here where you can see how many accounts have been set up already, and you can change the domain that we're talking about, because we've got multiple domains on this account, so you can actually change the domain. And I'm going to blur out some of these, unfortunately, just for security reasons, but I have a bunch of domain names here, and you can choose which domain you want to change the email settings for. And you can add a new email address by clicking on here. You can even set up an email mailing list in here, and if I go up to the top menu here, I can get into the FTP user accounts, and this is where you set these up. So there's a main FTP user, and you can see the quota and then some further information. I'm just going to blur out some of the directory and hostname information here, and then I've got a bunch of sub accounts. So all of these different accounts are for accessing different websites under this hosting control panel. In the case of a more simple website, you probably will only have one or two FTP users. So I've got multiple because I've got a bunch of different websites on this account. So that's the basics of HSphere. Finally, just on databases, there's information there you can set up. They've got more than one type of database here. They've got MySQL, Microsoft SQL, and PGSQL. There is also a domain settings, which is where you can make further changes on the domain and adding new domains to the account, things like that. So that's HSphere. I particularly like HSphere, but I'm very familiar with it, and I know that it's a little bit more bare bones than the other systems. In terms of hosting control panels, cPanel is one of the most popular, I think, because it's one of the easiest to use for the end user. It's very clear and it's very easy to use, and they've got some really nice icons which make it easy for people to navigate around. This hosting control panel is called Parallels Plesk. In this you see all the same things that you can find in the other control panels. You've got a file manager, set up your email addresses or add new email addresses. They've got some stuff like adding staff members and users, and you can access sites, add new subdomains, manage your FTP account. There's an area here, they've got an application vault. I'll just click in there to show you what they've got there. So what I'll do is I'll look under content management. They've got Joomla and Drupal. They don't have WordPress under there, so they probably have it under blog software, which some people might argue with. And there's WordPress, so you can do a one-click install here. That would be to click this button here. I'm not going to go through it now. So that's the basics of Parallels, and so that's the basics of the hosting control panels. In further videos, I'll be looking at different particular tasks in more detail, and if you want a video made on how to do a particular task on any particular hosting control panel that I've shown you here, or you want it done on another one that I don't have access to but I can log into yours, I'll log in and do whatever you need done. Thanks for watching.